Hey guys, this is Comic Uno. Today I'm doing a review for Batman Black and White issue 2, and I think there's 6 issues for this series, so it's a six-issue mini-series, which should be a lot of fun. So we'll talk about this issue, but before I start talking about that, just have a couple updates. First update, today's my birthday, so that's why these videos are up a little earlier than usual. Hope that's okay for everyone's schedule. So usually I do a little later on Thursday, but today I did it earlier, so hope you guys enjoyed that. Also, of course, we have some exclusive comics for Dark Avenger Inc.'s Comic Uno episode 16, which is Lazarus issue 4, which is a digital comic. Then we have Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue 4, Green Arrow issue 24. Stuff fell. Anyways, I'll get that later. Morning Glories issue 32, and we got Earth 2 issue 16. So if you want to go check out those reviews, go to Comic Uno episode 16, which will be annotated. But let's talk about Batman Black and White issue 2. Aren't we happy to go back to regular DC, even though this was actually out during Villains Month. But it's kind of cool just getting back to the swing of things with DC and actually having our titles again. But let's talk about this issue. Of course, we have these 5 stories, so I will be reviewing it story by story. And so I'll talk about story of one of the issues, say if I liked it, and then of course by the end I'll tell you overall if I like the issue. So we do have these 5 stories. One thing I love about these covers, I guess I could talk about the back also, is that they show the stories in the back and the type of art in an amazing way. And then of course we have this like laminated type cover, so it's like they worked hard on it. It's worth the $4.99, so we have that shiny cover that I always like reading from. I think Forever Evil also had that this week. So, very cool cover. Really like the art. You know, black and white. Sometimes I don't like black and white. Depends on really the comic. But I think it's really fun to see Batman black and white because we're kind of used to it already also because we've had a Batman black and white series. And then we get to see different spins of different stories from different writers and different artists. And I think that's kind of fun because really if you like one short story, you may not like the other. But overall, you might really like the issue. And I think that's something that's really fun with black and white and seeing which story you will like. It's a short story of a great iconic character, Batman. So let's see what's happening with the story, see if I like that though. So let's talk about the first story. The first story is actually a Man-Bat story. So if you read the Man-Bat issue from, you know, Villains Month, you might really enjoy this. And we find out that Man-Bat is actually not the villain of the story. And you have this narrative where I actually thought it was Batman as a kid, and I'm like, whoa, he seems a little weak here. He's like, oh, my father always protects me and I looked for heroes. I'm like, isn't Batman a hero? So I got a little confused with the narrative, but then you realize it's one of the children, one of Man-Bat's children that's telling the narrative. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And with great art here. So, really great Man-Bat story. Honestly, I really never read anything with Man-Bat, but I really enjoyed this one. I'm like, oh, so, you know, the kid's hero is their father, who's actually a Man-Bat that looks like the monster. And the person that Batman thought was the monster, or the hero, or the father, the human, was actually the villain. So I thought that was really entertaining. Loved the art. I have to say that's probably my favorite story out of the whole issue. So really enjoyed this one. Great art, great story. Really like that. Now we got Dan Didio's story, which is about the Joker. He pretty much is just fighting Batman like usual. He's a little creepy in this issue, and that's it really. I didn't really like this one. He just talks about, in his narrative, about this circle and how circles are organized and everything. And I thought that was kind of weird. The story didn't really do anything for me. It's mostly a narrative, but it's a very repetitive narrative because all he keeps talking about is these circles, which I feel like in the first place he didn't really care about. And then he just fights Batman for a while. And the art, I'm going to tell you, I didn't really like the art. Because it's kind of weird. The one thing I liked about the art, I'm going to say the one thing I did like, was the Joker. He's creepy as hell here. He has that regular face, you know, the puny face, his real mouth, and then the big face, and you actually realize it. So the Joker was great here, but everyone else was really weirdly drawn. Example, it works for Joker, but it doesn't work for his goons. So I didn't really love the art besides the Joker. The Joker was great here. And it's kind of weird because the fighting felt very cartoony with this story. Example, Thud. Like, that's a very cartoony type thing to do, and it's a gritty art. So I felt like that was kind of a weird contrast in this issue. So overall, really loved Joker's face here, but everything else was not that great. So the art for every other character wasn't that great, and the story wasn't that great either. Alright, the next story is about pretty much purgatory with Batman, and he realizes in the end that it's not purgatory. None of this is actually happening, and it's Scarecrow. So I was like, whoa, it's, I didn't actually expect that to be a Scarecrow story. So I enjoyed this one. This is my second favorite of the issue. Great art, as you can see with this last issue. Didn't expect it to be Scarecrow, because I thought it was going to be this regular short story of him being in purgatory or something, and kind of exploring his mind a little. But it was Scarecrow, and I had a lot of fun with it. So, honestly, I wish this was the Scarecrow Villains Month issue, because, again, it was really fun. So, great art and great story for the Scarecrow one. So, that was number 3. Number 4. This is probably the worst out of all of them. Look at this art. It's just so messed up. I couldn't concentrate on the story because the art was so messed up. And it was really a shame because Jeff Lemire wrote this story. And I really like him as a writer. And it was talking about his past as Batman. And he's stuck somewhere in the winter and his father saved him. The regular story, I had no idea what was actually going on here. He saved Commissioner Gordon, I think. So there wasn't really a big story. But the art really was so distracting in this issue. I just did not like it at all. So this had to be the worst for me. I think really the art is what really did it to me. I couldn't concentrate on the story enough to actually like it. And even the story wasn't so great just because nothing really happened in it. And it wasn't that powerful. So that had to be the worst for me. Next to, I guess, the Joker one. But I think the Joker one's a little over than the Cold. I don't even remember what it was called. It's had something to do with the Cold. Oh, Winter's End. So it was better than Winter's End. Alright, last one is Batman silent movie. Very cool. We get to see a silent movie type story. And we get to see him save people that could be murdered by this knight type person. And he, of course, remembers his childhood where how his parents died. So he wants to save the people that, he doesn't want the people to live his childhood. So he's trying to save these people. That way they don't have to go through the agonized history that he went through. So it's a cool silent film. It really does feel like a silent film. The art is really cool. So I liked it. I enjoyed this one. Wasn't one of my favorites, but it's kind of like that middle one that is like, oh, cool. That was interesting, something different. But I gotta say, next issue looks pretty cool. This is the story I'm looking forward to because this is like all like the girl Bat heroes, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then we have Stephanie Brown over there, so that's really what I'm looking forward to. So really looking forward to the next issue for that story. But this was probably not better than the first issue. I think there was better stories in the first issue, but I think there's enough good stories here that you would want to pick it up. There's 2 that really aren't so great. The silent movie one's okay, but I think the Man-Bat and I can't even think of the other one. The Scarecrow issue was pretty cool. So overall, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I did like it. Again, this wasn't as good as the first issue, but I think there's enough good stories in here that you'll really enjoy it. So 3.5, I think you should pick it up. It's a fun series, so definitely pick that up. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the right situations, and don't forget to like my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.